Remain standing through the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Jenkins.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts, acknowledging that every good gift comes from you and that you are the source of all wisdom, justice, and understanding. We thank you for the privilege of living and serving in this community and for the men and women who have accepted the responsibility of leading the city of Clarksville. As they begin the first reading of this budget, we ask for your divine guidance to rest upon each council member, our mayor, our city staff, and all who have labored to prepare this plan. Lord, grant them the courage to make the hard decisions that leadership requires when competing priorities arise. Help them to look beyond personal preferences and political pressures and seek what will bring the greatest good to the people they have been called to serve. Give them understanding to see not only the immediate needs before them, but also the broader long-term picture. May they consider the future of our neighborhoods, our families, our businesses, our schools, our first responders, our infrastructure, and the generations yet to come. Help them to build wisely, remembering that today's decisions will shape tomorrow's opportunities. And Father, remind them that they are stewards of the public trust. Grant them discernment to responsibly fund the essential services that protect and strengthen our city while exercising integrity, accountability, and fiscal wisdom. May every dollar entrusted to their care be managed with honesty and a sincere desire to promote the welfare of all citizens. Where there are differing opinions, grant respect and unity of purpose. Where there are difficult choices, grant clarity. Where there is uncertainty, grant peace and confidence to do what is right. Your word reminds us in James 1:5 that if any lack wisdom, they should ask of God, who gives generously to all without finding fault. Today we ask for that wisdom. Guide the conversations, deliberations, and the decisions made in this chamber. We pray for the continued prosperity and safety of all the well-being of the city of Clarksville. Bless its citizens, protect those who serve, strengthen our neighborhoods, and help us be a community marked by compassion, responsibility, and hope. May all that is done here today contribute to the common good and reflect the highest ideals of servant leadership. We ask all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Members, please register your attendance. Madam Clerk, take the roll, please.
All members are present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First item on our special session agenda is item A, Ordinance 84, 2025-26, first reading, an ordinance amending the operating and capital budget for the fiscal year 2025-26 and adopting the operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 2026-27 for CDE Light Band. I will entertain a motion and a second. Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of Ordinance 84. Any comment or question regarding this ordinance? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 84 passes first reading. Next item is item B, Ordinance 85, 2025-26, first reading, an ordinance amending the 2025-26 budget and approving the 2026-27 annual action plan and budget and authorizing application for community development block grant and home investment partnership funds, as well as other programs. I'll entertain a motion and a second. Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of Ordinance 85. Any comment or question regarding Ordinance 85? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 85 passes first reading. Next item is item C, Ordinance 86, 2025-26, first reading. An ordinance amending the operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 2025-26 and adopting the operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 26-27 for the Clarksville Gas and Water Department. I'll entertain a motion and a second. Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of Ordinance 86. Any comment or question regarding this Ordinance 86? Councilman Smith, your recognized for a question or comment.
Mayor, I just want to know, and I didn't get a chance to really look at the gas and water budget pretty deep like I wanted to, so much going on. I want to know, are there going to be any increases in this budget to raise the gas, the water, and the sewage as it has been in 2024? Is that in the budget? Do anybody know?
I can tell you there's none that's recognized in next year's budget.
Tenfold. Thank you.
Any other comment or question regarding this ordinance? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 86 passes first reading. We're now ready for item D, ordinance 87, 2025-26, first reading, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2025-26 and adopting the operating budget for fiscal year 26-27 for the internal service funds. I will entertain a motion in a second.
Motion to accept.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 87. Any comment or question regarding ordinance 87? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 87 passes first reading. We're now ready for item E, ordinance 88, 2025-26. First reading, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2025-26 budget and establishing the operating budget for fiscal year 2026-27 for the Clarksville Parking Commission, a proprietary fund. I will entertain a motion and a second. Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 88. Any comment or question? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 88 passes first reading. We're now ready for item F, ordinance 89, 2025-26. First reading, an ordinance amending the operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 25-26 and adopting the operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 2026-27 for the Clarksville Transit System. I'll entertain a motion and a second. Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 89. Any comment or question regarding ordinance 89? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 89 passes first reading. We're now ready for item G, ordinance 90, 2025-26, first reading, an ordinance amending the operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 2025-26 and adopting the operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 26-27 for the governmental funds for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026 and ending June 30, 2027. I will entertain a motion and a second. Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of ordinance 90. We have questions and comments. Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I will have some amendments. I don't know how your plan is to handle those, but I do have a question because knowing this is the biggie. Before we get started, would it be possible to bring up Ms. Wilcox just to ask her a couple of questions in regard to the passing of the budget?
Yeah, if you will ask the question and then we will gives her time to.
One question would be, I know in the past, it has been discussed regarding what happens if we don't get a budget passed by the end of the month, knowing we have to have a budget in place. So I'd like to hear from Ms. Wilcox, her response on that. And then secondly, it would, if that meant reverting back to last year's, or even if we have 0 cents in a tax increase. I've got a few questions that are part of that question, as what the effect would be in 3 different areas.
Okay, any objection, Ms. Wilcox, if you don't mind? Councilman Streetman, if you don't mind, ask your question one at a time.
Ms. Wilcox, and you've heard this asked before in previous years, but for our benefit and for the benefit of the public, in the event, I know we are still early in the month and there still is time. However, what happens if we do not get a budget passed by June 30th?
According to city code, if there's no budget passed by June 30th, we will continue to meet until there is one. Also, after June 30th, our budget will stay the same as it is currently right now. So our 27 budget will become what is in our 26 budget at the moment.
What does that mean for any, first of all, for operating expenses, for our employees to continue to get paid, for things that we have to do to be able to run the city?
For operating and salaries, That will continue. We can still pay those, but based on 26's budget.
What about any contractual obligations that we have?
If the contracts are either for capital outlay, which is furniture, land, equipment, or if it is capital projects, we cannot spend over $5,000 on any of those kinds of expenditures until the budget is accepted or passed.
What effect would that have, though, on us? I apologize, I
So-
don't think I asked that correctly.
So we are, currently, there are capital projects that we are in contract already on, that are in progress right now, that we will become, we would default on those contracts.
Okay, and then, debt serviceability. Would we still be able to handle our debt serviceability?
We can still pay our debt service. As a matter of fact, the comptroller says that they can come in and make sure that we do pay that part of it. So if we don't get anything passed, the comptroller will step in and have some requirements of us to report to them, and they will make sure that we do meet our obligations.
Would that have any effect on our interest rates in the future?
If
Or
we
bond
do not
rates, sorry.
pass, if we do not pass a budget within 2 months, we are unable to issue any new debt or any types of financing obligations.
But what about, I'm talking even looking into the future, a year, 2 years down the road, does that have any effect on us as far as our bond rates are concerned?
I would actually have to run that by our financial advisor to see if the rating agencies would look at the fact that we took longer than required to pass our budget, if that would affect it. I'm assuming yes, it would, but I would like to run that by them to verify.
Okay. I don't know if anybody else has any questions, but those are just the questions I wanted us to ask, so we know what we're looking at tonight.
Okay, thank you. Now, as far as amendments, I know we have several. My plan is to start with Ward 1 and work our way around the horseshoe, and deal with those amendments according to, from Ward 1 to Ward 12.
Mayor, I object.
Okay, we'll,
My button is punched first, and I would like to go first,
well,
and that's how we practice.
the chair has ruled that we will go 1 through 12, and there's been a member to object, so we're going to put it on the board. So we're voting whether to object to the ruling of the chair to start with Ward 1 and go to Ward 12. As far as amendments, you're recognized for a question on
Thank you,
that
Mayor. Why the
challenge.
change? Why the change today?
I'm not changing anything. That's how we've traditionally done it.
No, that's not how we traditionally do it, Mayor. We always go with whose name is punched first. And so we want to change it, but that's okay. If that's what you want to do, you're the chair. But we still want to vote. I still want to get a vote on it. Thank you.
Okay, we are going to vote on, the ruling of the chair has been challenged, so you're voting as to whether to overrule the ruling of the chair to go from Ward 1 to Ward 12 with amendments. Every member, please cast your vote. Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
1 yes, 12 no, 0
That
abstain.
objection fails. We're now on, Councilman Chandler, you had your light lit? Clear. Okay. All right, we're going to start with Ward 1. Councilman Zacharias, any amendments to offer?
No amendments, Mayor, but I reserve the right to bring some at second reading.
Absolutely, just for today. Okay. Councilman Cloutz, you're recognized for any amendments?
Thank you, Mayor. No amendments. When I submitted my amendments to the CFO, I, hours later, started receiving calls, one after the other, 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 with very specific information about my amendments that I turned in prior to today to show faith in this process. That same faith was not offered with the budget being published, the conversations that I had in February with the chief of staff to be involved in the budget process as a new individual, also offered by Deanna McLaughlin, the council member that left this seat, as well as multiple department heads. I will not speculate on why I received specific calls about specific dollar amounts that I turned into the CFO for the budget. I also understood that that was a courteous thing that I did not have to do, that I could have brought them here tonight and not turned them in. So I am a no across the board with the current budget until we have real conversations about money, department heads, and this wall after wall after wall of you can't do that, you can't do this. If everything is important, nothing is important. And I believe, I'll speak for myself, I have diligently tried to look at 569 pages, and then it jumped to 589 pages, to understand this shell game of funds getting moved, and as a city, us not being able to balance our checkbook. If any one of us out there decided that we wanted to go buy something new and couldn't balance our checkbook, they would tell us, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I am a no until we sit down and have real conversations.
Councilman Peters, any amendments you wish to offer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No amendments for tonight.
All right, thank you. Councilman Chandler, any amendments you wish to offer?
No, sir, but I'm gonna reserve I'm gonna reserve my, comments when we get deeper into this. So, no, I don't have any amendments.
All right, thank you. Councilman Marquis, you're recognized for amendments.
I had amendments, and it seems like a similar story. I have a speech I need to tell everybody here, because I'm also a no vote on this budget. You see, this budget asks taxpayers to pay more while providing less transparency than they deserve. It asks us to approve millions of dollars in spending while significant questions remained unanswered. It asks us to trust a process that frankly has not earned that trust. You see, over the last several months, I've poured myself into financial reports for the city that are published online, trying to understand what this position is. Prior to this budget, I did anticipate that there was probably a tax proposal coming. So earlier this week, I did submit my amendments. Almost immediately, interesting, my amendments seem to make their way through City Hall, members of the public, and I suspect, based on the conversations that I've had with members of the public, that even some of the members up here have my amendments. I suspect based on that. And this was followed by many calls, many messages, and lobbying efforts directed against my proposals with very specific information. And this should concern every member of this body and the public. This budget should be conducted openly, honestly, and transparently. Instead, what I have witnessed is a coordinated effort to defend the status quo rather than to address the legitimate concerns that have been raised. This budget process, throughout this budget process, information has surfaced only after I have asked specific questions. Specific reallocations, transfers, and financial decisions are often not presented openly for discussion. Instead, they are discovered through review, which are then explained afterwards. That shouldn't be it. Transparency should not depend on whether a council member happens to notice something and ask about it. The public should not have to rely on elected officials stumbling across questionable entries in order to understand how their money is being managed. If funds are being shifted, priorities are being changed, or projects are being restructured, those conversations should happen in the open. They should not be clearly disclosed. They should be clearly disclosed, clearly explained, and easily understood by both council and the taxpayers that we represent. A transparent budget does not require a scavenger hunt. A transparent budget tells the public what is happening before they ask. I'm tired of hearing that the only solution is to raise taxes. The city does not have a revenue problem nearly as much as it has a priorities problem. We continue discussing new spending, new obligations, new debt, new projects, while refusing to have an honest conversation about efficiency, accountability, and reform. We continue holding assets that can be leveraged for additional borrowing. We continue to approve expenditures while basic questions about performance and outcomes go unanswered. We continue asking taxpayers for more while demanding very little from departments that repeatedly failed to meet expectations, and that is not sustainable. Some departments perform exceptionally well, and they deserve to be recognized. Others have repeatedly demonstrated poor stewardship of taxpayer resources and continue operating as though accountability is optional, and it is not. If department consistently fails to deliver results, misses targets, ignores concerns, or mismanages resources, there should be consequences. The taxpayers who fund this government face consequences every day for poor decisions. The budget before is inflated, lacks sufficient transparency, relies too heavily on asking our taxpayers to solve problems that should first be addressed through management, policy reform, and accountability. I will not vote to raise taxes until this council receives a budget that is transparent, defensible, and honest about our financial conditions. The taxpayers of this city deserve better than being told that higher taxes are the first answer. They deserve a government willing to do the hard work first. I don't even care if this comes down to a penny. I'm not voting for it. I'm not going to give a bunch of crackheads more money to get high. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Councilman Smith, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we will not allow any more outbursts. Any additional outburst will result in us clearing the room. Councilman Smith, you're recognized. Do you have an amendment?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're recognized on your amendment.
Thank you for letting them go before me. That was good. They gave some good information. Good information. I also put in a resolution. I wanted on this, at this budget, done at the budget meeting, and they told me I couldn't do it as well. So, I felt like I was the only one getting, pushback. But I see this resolution is not on the agenda because they said it couldn't go on the agenda. And it's a resolution concerning my favorite place, Ajax Senior Citizen. So I guess it'll be on the executive order. Now, executive agenda. Now, let me bring forth this amendment that I have. It's the funds for the Ajax Senior Citizen and to reduce the parks funds. Everybody should see this. I'm bringing it forth, even though I hope, I know that they said they're not gonna vote on the budget, but I can bring it back again when they bring their amendments as well. But I hope y'all vote on this tonight. And this amendment is to remove the funds from Parks and Recreation, the $800,000 that they took away from the senior citizen building or senior citizen entity or center. The senior citizen, I think they see almost 1,500 citizens. That is a place where they have social engagement, fun, relaxation. It's just a place of life for our seniors. There's not too many things to do here in the city of Clarksville for our seniors, and that is their only hope. It is a nonprofit organization, and it costs less to operate as a nonprofit. $800,000, the funds that we gave every year to the Senior Citizens Center so that they can operate. But if it's in the hands of the city, it costs us almost $1,300,000. So that's a difference of $486,952. So I'm asking us to put the money back into the Senior Citizen Center. We can fix the leadership. That's what some had concerns about. I have no problems with that, but I think that we need to keep that center as a nonprofit. It is cheaper to operate as a nonprofit, and it saves the city tax dollars. So I make a motion to bring this forth.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of the amendment. We have three people on the list. Councilman Holloman on the amendment, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. So I think it's probably good that we go ahead and discuss this and hash this out, so that way, like, give people a lot of ease at home and inside their minds, because I know this has been weighing a lot on various communities. So my thoughts on this amendment is I think for everything that I've heard and I've studied The senior center, it is not perfect. Like, the senior center has a lot of problems. Is a government takeover the solution? You know, I don't know. I don't think it is right now. I know about 6 years ago, my first term, my thoughts were that the county can take over the staff of the senior center, and then they go under like the school department because of the facilities are similar to a school, and then the city takes over like the buildings and maintenance of it. So that way it kind of splits it between the two governments. That was kind of like my brainstorm idea about 6 years ago. The thing about saving the senior center, or not really saving it, reallocating this money to the Ajax Turner Senior Center, it's about liability. So as many accidents as the senior center has had, citizens falling, medical issues, everybody likes to sue the city. Like, we all know that. And so if we take over, I think that will just open up the floodgates for lawsuits. And so in that effect, I do think that it is actually a lot better deal to have the senior center under Ajax Turner, because they assume the liability. And then on top of that, we're actually saving money by keeping the Ajax Turner Senior Citizen Center. Is it perfect? No, it's not. They've had a lot of problems. But I'm afraid the city taking over will just equal more problems for the city. And so that's my take on it. Thank you.
Councilman Streetman on the amendment.
Thank you, Mayor. In the past, we've given this money because they were in our building. That's already been set that they're not going to be in our building going forward, starting July 1st. And if you look back at last year's, of course, looking at make sure I'm looking at the right one. I believe I'm looking at it. Fiscal year 2026. Their revenue projections, they had, their own revenue projections as well as our 824,000. They had 210 plus another 43, 32, 53, but 824,000 of that was coming from our budget. Our local tax dollars giving to them. If anybody's been paying attention, it has been absolutely chaotic over there over the last few weeks. We're talking about giving $800,000. Is that what this is? $800,000 to the Ajax Turner Senior Center that won't have anything to do with us. We're not giving money of our local tax dollars to other nonprofits. I'm sure there's plenty of nonprofits out there that would love to have it. I'm sure United Way would love to have it. I'm sure Operation Stand Down. I'm sure I could list off several of them that would love for us to just give them $800,000. But I think taxpayers in that case would rather get to choose where their nonprofit dollars go versus us just saying, here, we're just going to give you this money. I'm not in favor of doing this. The reason that you're looking at it costing $1.2 million is, for one, there's things we are going to have to replace. And talking with Parks and Recreation, there's things that are, again, going to have to be looked at, but she's not anticipating that being as high next year. That could change, but it's kind of hard to look at their financials and figure it out, because I'm not sure that we have gotten all the financials that we need. The last financials that I saw for them that we received as a requirement was their financials that ended in December. Ms. Wilcox may be able to answer that further, but maybe she can tell us if we've gotten any others. But I know this council last year, when we made a decision, we had asked to be able to receive those on a quarterly basis.
Ms. Wilcox, can you answer the question?
December 2025 is the last quarter that you guys have seen, the council has seen. We have received them in our office. However, we have not provided you with the first quarter of 2026. We gave them all a 45 from the end of the month, or the quarter, 45 days to get them into our office for us to compile the three and then present them at the next F&A committee meeting.
So we did at least receive them.
Yes.
Can you tell us anything about them before we're voting to give away $800,000 of our local tax dollars, which is more than a penny to give away?
No, I have not had a chance to look at them over the last 3 months to tell you anything about what they look like.
the ones we've gotten from them?
No, because I get them from all three. I get them RPC, the airport, the museum, and the senior center. And I compile them. I get them monthly, and to get them to you guys quarterly, I can compile them. And with this budget season, I have not done that as of yet,
Okay, so we don't know if they're on budget, off budget, anything like that?
not currently.
Okay. All right, thank you. Like I said, I just have concerns with handing over the $800,000. Plus, if we stop the process, they're not in that building. If we take the $1.2 million away, we're stopping the process for the senior center that the Parks and Recreation is trying to do there, leaving the adult daycare still closed. I'm not sure how that serves anybody in that population if all we then have is a shell of a building sitting there. So for me, I cannot support just handing over the $800,000 and not knowing what's going on with it. And again, especially everything that we've been seeing that's going on and the information, the misinformation, all the above that we've seen regarding the Ajax Senior Citizen Center.
Councilman Chandler, you're recognized on the amendment.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, my question is, what is gonna happen if this is removed from Parks and Recreation budget? What's gonna happen? I mean, obviously, there will not be a center open. And then on the other hand, though, another question is the name Ajax Senior Citizen Center. Are we gonna have a legal fight over that because they have it under, grant money? Do we actually own that? No, because it's not our grant. I am sick and tired of hearing things are chaotic. Things have gotten out of hand, not 1 year, but 2, 3 years. This is not the first agency that's been brought to this council's attention that, well, they're not operating within the way they're supposed to. If you'll remember back, I don't know about the rest of the council, but, you know, we supposedly had a problem over at the Housing Authority. And when we found out that there was a problem that had been going on for a long time, quote, was when the contractor wanted us to close 2 streets to be able to do the remodeling over there. That's when we found out. If there are incidences like Housing Authority, the Senior Citizen Center, that everybody is saying is wrong, is chaotic, they're not following the rules, then is it not this body, we're the one giving them the money, is it not this body to get a report in a timely manner to get rid of it, but the problems before it gets to this point? I've lived in this town for 71 years, and I have never seen a overwhelming disappointment because we're going to take over the Senior Citizen Center. They don't want us to take it over. And to be honest with you about it, I don't care whether it's the city, the county, the state, or federal government. Most of the time when the government takes something over, we wound up messing it up. And I'm going to vote in favor to remove it. Nothing against Parks and Recreation. They got their hands full. But again, I go back to what's going to happen if we remove it. You know, I had a conversation before this meeting tonight with a gentleman, and they're planning on packing all their stuff up, putting it in storage. And, you know, I've had 3, 4, maybe phone calls and emails about supporting the city taking it over. I've had 100 times more saying, don't take it over. So that tells me, okay, we take it over, but the majority don't want us to take it over, so the majority's not coming. Again, I go back to, if we're going to hang somebody out to dry because they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then we, the council, the city, is not doing what they're supposed to do to ensure that our money is being spent properly. That's all I've got to say.
Councilman Smith, on your amendment.
Thank you, Mayor. To my fellow councilman who just spoke, we would know what we're going to do with that money if I could have brought this resolution forward. It is to make a resolution.
On your amendment,
so that-
please.
I am, but I'm speaking on my
On your
amendment
amendment.
as to why. Okay, Mayor. I guess you're trying to shut me up again, as always. Nothing unusual. I'm used to it. I will obey you, sir. But anyway, we would have had a resolution to vote on the restoring it back to the senior citizens, okay? Now, back on my resolution, the extra money, I want to answer a question about what was asked. The extra money that they need to replace the furniture. That's why she said we need 1 million, need this extra $4,086. Well, we wouldn't have to replace anything if we wasn't moving the people. We wouldn't have to replace anything if this hadn't happened, or if it hadn't going to be happening, I should say. You wouldn't need no extra money. And then something else was said that they were so concerned about. They didn't have, they didn't want to give them any money. They're concerned about giving the center money. You haven't been concerned for the last, I'll say 8 years you've been on this council, I guess. But you're also concerned right now. Really? I don't understand that. Also, someone said that this building belongs to the city. Under my research and investigation, it does not belong to the city. That's what I gathered. That building does not belong to the city, and that's some research that I done. I heard it belongs to somebody else, but I'm not going to make that known right now. We'll find out after further investigations. And I hope that my resolution would be able to come forward at the next meeting so that we can help these people. This is nothing against Mayor Pitts. I want y'all to know that. This is for my constituents. I stand up for who put me in this office. And that's what I am. I'm a voice for the people. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Claunch, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. If this was such a good idea, why was it kept quiet? If you look on Facebook, if you look anywhere, there's these 3 words that seem to be buzzwords now: communication, transparency, and accountability. In 2026, we have so much technology at our fingertips, but we can't talk about the things, right? The pastor spoke about being a fallible human being, coming together and working together on an issue. I am jacked up. I am. But every day, I try to be better tomorrow than I was today. If that center was jacked up, why is the board not full? Why does the county not have their seats filled? Why do 3/4 of the seats from the city go to the same church? Why, before I submitted my amendments yesterday, did I have 150 calls in support of the senior center? And then after my amendments were submitted, I had about 300 calls in support of the city taking it over. It's very interesting. I've been there 5 times, and not one time was that place not busy. Not one time were there not our seniors enjoying themselves. Not one time did I see anything that was so egregious that I went, why can't we work together and come up with a solution that benefits everyone for a center that's been there for 50 years? My council member has made this amendment, and unfortunately, I'm gonna say no because this is all theatrics. So when we decide to have a real conversation about monies, I will be more than happy to support you giving that funding back to Ajax Turner. That's all I have.
Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. In reference to a question, why haven't I been concerned before? I know that was directed at me. Once again, to point out, a year ago, the stipulation was put in, financials had to be submitted. So this isn't anything new to be concerned. That came about. And again, over the last year, there has been a lot of information that I've heard that of issues going on with the Ajax Center, including turnover. There's been issues with even, I don't even want to get into the recent issues because it's on Facebook, but you've had directors fired, you've had employees fired, you've had the police called in the last, twice in the last few days. There's just no way I could support just handing over $800,000 with everything going on. Now, in regard to real conversations, that's what this is. That's why we're here. We're here to discuss all of this. I've been having conversations with our different department heads. This is your opportunity to discuss all this. We're here to do work. I don't understand why we're talking about just not doing work and voting against anything that comes before us, because we're not accomplishing anything there. We're just saying, I don't want to do my job, and I'm not here to do that.
Councilman Smith, you're recognized on your amendment.
Thank you, sir. In reference to someone said they're not supporting me, this ain't about Wanda. This is about the people. You got to understand. I know you knew, and you got to learn that. When I'm up here speaking for the people, it's not about Wanda. So let's don't take this personal. And I'm not taking. I want you to understand that because you knew.
Let's stick to
Learn
the
something.
amendment. Stick to your amendment, please.
Learn something today.
Stick
if you
to
don't
the
learn
amendment.
nothing else, learn that.
Councilman
It's not
Smith,
about
stick to
Wanda.
the amendment.
It's about the people.
If you're not
and
going to
that's what
stick
you're
to your
elected
amendment.
for.
All right, thank you very
I'm
much.
not through.
Yeah, you are. If you're going to speak on your amendment, I'll recognize
on
you.
my amendment,
All right,
Mayor.
you're recognized.
I have to answer every question they ask me.
No, they didn't ask you a
Yes,
question.
he did. He made a statement. You just states and make her statement about what I said. Now, why is it a problem with me making a statement about what he said?
Stick
What's
to
the
your
difference
amendment.
here?
Stick to your amendment, please.
Okay, she didn't stick to hers.
She
Now,
doesn't
why is
have an
there a
amendment.
difference?
She doesn't have an amendment.
Mary, you showing something right now. You showing something. You need to stop that. When I make an accusation or respond back to somebody, it's a problem. But when someone's responding back to me, it's a big, it ain't no problem. Come on now, let's be fair about this. Point of order, nothing.
Councilman
I got the
Lovato,
floor.
Councilman Lovato, for a point of order.
I got
You're
the floor.
recognized.
According to Robert's rules, she is in violation of decorum.
No, I'm not.
Let's move
You
on.
are.
Okay, so
I have
Councilman
the floor.
Smith, you have the floor on your amendment.
Okay. I'm just gonna say this. I hope y'all vote for this because, when I bring this resolution, this will help to figure out what is going to happen. It's up to you. I can bring it back again in a different format a little bit, when we decide to vote on this. And we are having real conversations. I will agree with on that. This is real conversation. Thank you.
Councilman Chandler.
Call for the question.
The question's been called for. Any objection? I do object to the question, so we're going to put it on the board. We're voting to cease discussion on this amendment. It requires 2/3 majority to cease discussion, which would be 9 of us. And we're voting to cease discussion on amendment number 1. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
5 yes, 8 no, 0 abstain.
Bless your heart. Question fails. We're now back on discussion of Amendment 1. Councilman Claunch, you're recognized on Amendment 1.
I think you misunderstood what I was trying to say, and that's okay. I am new. But I think that anybody that sits up here that thinks they've got it all figured out is wrong. I have also been doing my work. But when I met with no, 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 or roadblock, 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 that lends me to ask other questions. When we are here to do work. I brought a lunch, I got a whoopee. I'm gang, gang. So the discussions, in my opinion, as somebody that is new to this council, should have happened prior to this, to where this is very, okay, we understand what this department needs. We understand the priority of this department, not roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. That's all I have to say.
Councilman Brown on the amendment.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So my question may be to you, Mr. Mayor, but even if this happens to pass, this is not gonna make a difference on the lease that has been terminated.
We will
Correct.
have to bring the lease back to the council for your approval.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Chandler? on the
Thank you,
amendment.
Mayor. I made a mistake voting voting down my call for the question, but here we go. You know, the statement's been made, well, you know, a year ago, I heard this, I saw this, I did this. I want the council, other than Mr. Clonch, because he hadn't been there that long, how many of us sitting on this council knew that there was this big a problem last year? Raise your hand. Okay, 2, 3 out of 13. You go back to my point again, we are not doing our due diligence. We are not communicating. We're not getting it out to people. And not every comment I have is against you, Ward 10. But I will say this, well, the police was called over there. Well, let's go shut down Walmart. Because the chief of police right there can tell you there's more calls at Walmart than there are any place in the city. So, again, I don't understand. I don't understand if Chief Montgomery ran his department like supposedly the senior citizen people ran their department, he not only wouldn't be working here. Same thing goes for the chief of police, same thing goes for building codes. Again, whose responsibility is it? It is our responsibility as the government entity that spends the money to make sure that it's spent the proper way. And communicate, let me know, let us know, let the other 10 that didn't get notified, let them know ahead of time, hey, we got a problem, and we probably wouldn't be sitting in here arguing the point. And yes, I'm arguing. I mean, I love to argue. Crap, that's life. Life's an argument. But again, we want to blame the administration over at the Senior Citizen Center, but we don't want to take the blame. They didn't do their job. Okay, I'll give you that. But we didn't do our job neither to make sure that they did their job. That's it. I'm going to shut my mouth for the rest of the night.
Councilman Lovato, you're recognized on the amendment.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to address the concern for Ward 4 for us not knowing. Last year for the fiscal year, when the center did their presentation to the Finance Committee during budget season, the old director did alert us to some issues, which is why we brought on the requirement that they would send their financials frequently. So if the council didn't know, it's kind of their fault in this situation. Thank you.
All right. I anticipated this issue was going to come up, so buckle up, Buttercup. I didn't arrive at the decision to cancel and terminate this lease overnight. It has taken me 3 years. And to the councilman from Ward 4, I'm going to use the word you tired of hearing, chaos and confusion has reigned over there. Our police department's been called to the center several times over the past few weeks, 3 times in the past week. Another former director addressed the council and said the mayor is just listening to those who want to complain. Well, doggone right I am. That's my job. I submit that is my job, and I'll continue to do my job until the stroke of midnight on December 31st of this year. And I submit if she was doing her job, there wouldn't be any complaints. But let me continue. I met with the board and 4 of the past 5 directors to discuss major concerns over the past 3 years, which include retaliation against a staff member that happened to complain about a director's spouse interfering with her job. She complained about sexual harassment, and she was terminated. The former director of the Adult Day Center was terminated, the only person qualified and approved by the state to operate the Adult Day Center. What is the result? The premature closing of the Adult Day Center. And there's 15 families in this city, 15, that are without day services right now for their loved ones who have cognitive challenges. One person has to quit her job because of the lack of services. There's accounting irregularities in the billing for the services of the Adult Day Center. They've been trying to resolve those for months. The nonprofit status was suspended for months due to the failure of the management to file reports. We had a former or current, I'm not sure what his status is, that tell us the fire alarms haven't worked for years. That's not true. The fire alarms work. They're not communicating with each other, and our fire rescue department with our project management department have been over there working with the contractor to get that fixed. But it is their responsibility to get it fixed. But let me go on. Their annual audit shows findings. Don't know that they've been addressed yet. One of the frequent flyers who addresses this council came to me last year in my office and complained about the operations of the center. The irony. The irony. Another current board member was present last year when I told the board of the issues, and I laid out the plan of how we were going to operate and improve the operations of the center. He said at the conclusion of that meeting, I approve. Now he's addressing us and trying to defend the indefensible. So which is it? Which is it? Another employee had her paycheck messed up. After reporting to the former director that it was messed up, it took 4 weeks to get that paycheck fixed. And the former director blamed it on the employee, saying, well, you gave me the wrong account number. Well, she used the same account number she's been using forever. An employee was publicly reprimanded by a former director over there for helping a member off her electric scooter wheelchair when it started to smoke. Another employee made numerous complaints about sexual harassment, including men putting their hands on her. Folks, that's fertile ground for legal action. And we'll be complicit if we don't address it. If we had a contractor building a road or a park or a fire station or a police precinct doing any of those things, would we continue doing business with them? I hope not. I hope not. You know, we had a speaker come up here and accuse me of poor leadership. And that's for the people in history to decide. But I tell you what I'm not. I'm not a guy that's going to sit around and let people mistreat people. And they're being mistreated. They're being mistreated. Especially if I can do something about it. There are too many seniors in this community that depend on that center for their meals that they get, for the Adult Day Center, and for the socialization and activities. We have an obligation to make sure it's run and run right because we're spending taxpayer money. You have the power of the purse. As a council, we have the power of the purse. You appropriate money, it's up to management to operate and make sure that money's spent correctly. And when it's not, we have to take action, and that's what we've done. So I've said my piece. This amendment is wrong. It will not be in the best interest of our community, our city, or our taxpayers, and especially the seniors who are served over there. So I'm gonna be like Councilman from Ward 4, I'm gonna shut up now. We're now voting on the amendment. Every member, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
2 yes, 11 no, 0 abstain.
Amendment fails. Councilman Smith, you got any more amendments?
Oh, you gonna let me speak? Can I speak, Mayor?
You got another amendment?
I just wanna say, I hope we think about, am I on?
You're on.
I hope we think about, as we move forward in trying to help the seniors, over at the building, and I hope that they get to stay there. You know, and hey, leadership can change. We've all done something. None of us are perfect up here. We look in the paper, we see things about people all the time, candidates that are running. We see that. So we have all done something on this earth that's not right. So we don't want to put people down. We just want to tell the truth. And the Bible says the truth shall set us free. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Holloman, do you have any amendments?
No, not at this time, thank you.
Councilman Haywood, any amendments?
None there.
Councilman Brown, you're recognized for any amendments.
Yes, Mayor, I have a small one that's being passed around now.
Okay. Wait till we get it passed and
Yes,
then
sir.
you can address it.
I know it may not be much, but, it's something to try and reduce the expenses on our constituents. Almost there. So, looking at the first one on there is for building and codes. They've asked for 3 new staff members for inspectors. I understand the need for additional staff, so what I was looking at is removing 2 and then still giving them 1 new position. So removing 2 positions and the vehicles and equipment that would require would be $120,000, $120,000, and I don't really want to even say this number, this 660.
We can read it.
6,000, anyway. Then also, removing the new mayor's vehicle. I think the current mayor's vehicle is not in bad shape. I know it will trickle down somewhere, but, our police department still has Impalas on the road, and just want to do what we can to make sure that, we're watching out for the taxpayers' dollars. So that total is $180,000, and the 3 numbers there that, some of us don't like to say that, but 660 something dollars. So that would be my amendment, for that.
All right, you've heard the motion. Do I hear a second? Properly seconded. Councilman Streetman on this portion of the amendment.
Yes, sir, I just needed to ask regarding your vehicle, because, and I apologize, trying to remember. I feel like I remember you saying something in the meetings that we had back in May, and understandably, I've slept since then. Was there an issue with your vehicle? Because I remember somebody asking the question of why you had another vehicle in there.
Well, there was an issue with the former vehicle, but we replaced it. City code does require that the new mayor at a new term get a vehicle. So while you could remove this funding for the first half of the year, you'll be back. I won't be here, but the council will be back putting money in as a budget amendment because it's required by city code. Any other questions regarding this portion of the amendment? Yeah, you'll get final word. Councilman Brown, final word.
So I was, that was mentioned to me before. I was looking, I couldn't find it, the code, but, maybe that is something we need to revisit about changing that city code also. Just because we get a new mayor does not mean they need a new vehicle. We get new police officers all the time. They don't get new vehicles. I understand, the position is different. there's a lot of, public relations that go along with the mayor's office. But I believe, the mayor's vehicle may have 30,000 miles on it. I'm not sure of the number, but it looks pretty decent to me. And I know, the mayor's vehicle would pass down to another person that would replace another vehicle. So if we have to look at changing the city code, we may just have to look at that.
Councilman Streetman on this amendment?
Yes, sir, and I still want to allow him the final word, but I did want to ask a question. I had to ask the other question because I was trying to remember. Did you talk with Building and Codes about this any, as far as effect it might have on them with what they're trying to do in the upcoming year and everything that's on them? Okay.
Councilman Brown, you get final word again?
So, I know they do have more, put on them, as every department does. But if we have fire and police that are not asking for a new position, which are priority services to me, and that's why I was like, we could still at least give them one position. That would be a step forward from not getting any. So, that's all.
Councilman Smith on this amendment?
Thank you, Mayor. How many, new vehicles do they have now thus far? Do you know?
I know
You're recognized.
they asked for 3 new vehicles in the budget, but this is, the 2 positions and vehicles for the new positions.
Okay, I see that.
So this is the vehicles that are for the new positions.
Oh, okay. Now, I'm saying, do they have any new vehicles, now that they just got, maybe last year?
I don't know how many they have, but I know they've turned over several vehicles. Vehicles get replaced ever so often, but they do have like 3 vehicles that are over 175,000 miles on them in general.
And what are these 2 new positions for? Do
I
you know?
believe they were for codes inspectors.
Codes inspector,
Codes enforcement?
codes
Yes.
enforcement? Okay. Now, will this, decrease, getting the work done that we need to get done in this city?
Well, they're still gonna get a new position, which should increase their productivity a little bit. Instead of getting 3, they're still gonna gain 1 position,
But
which
that-
increases productivity itself.
But I don't know if that's gonna be enough though. Cause I heard, the employee there, that's over said that they needed, 2 more positions, 3, maybe 3, to handle the workload that they have gained because of the population growth. And so, we're growing by leaps and bounds. So we do need these 2 new positions as well as the cars for them to get the work done. That's just my, thank you.
Right. And I'm looking at what the taxpayers or constituents of mine are saying, we've got to tighten the strings and just looking at what options we have. Because the police and fire department aren't getting any new positions. Parks and Rec, I believe, was 15 because of the senior center. But we've got to look at where we can cut and, I hadn't gotten a phone call saying, hey, vote for this 31-cent tax increase. I don't know if anybody else has gotten one. I hadn't gotten one that says vote yes for it. We won't, but I have had some that called and said, we understand there may be some, but trying to reduce what we can.
Any more comment or question regarding the Brown Amendment number 1? Seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, we're voting on Brown Amendment 2. I'm sorry. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
6 yes, 7 no, 0 abstain.
Amendment fails. Councilman Brown, you're recognized on your amendment.
No others.
Oh, okay. You started to say, Your Honor? Is that what you said? Councilman Streetman, you're recognized on amendments.
Okay, I actually have quite a few to start with. All right, so we know that we have, fleet tracking is in the budget for us to be able to track the different vehicles. That includes cameras. It's in the IT budget. So I have, this one's just a small one, but this is to remove, sorry, I need to pass it around.
If you'll hang on a minute till we get it in front of us, and then we'll come back to you.
And I know these are small amounts, but again, I have a stack here where I'm trying to work through, and I was really anticipating us having quite a few to work through tonight. I've thought that for some time. But as you'll see, it's still included in the budget, the Verizon fleet tracking, which is the fleet tracking system we currently have. Obviously, there is not a need to have both of them. So I've got an amendment here that will remove 957 from security, 7,100 from building and codes, 1,149 from garage, and $9,379 from parks. It totals up to $18,585. Again, I know it's not a lot, but that's where the stack comes in and trying to work through different things. But again, this was unnecessary for us to have, so that was why we didn't need to have both in there. So I've gotten this to take it out, so I make a motion for approval.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of this amendment. Any discussion regarding this amendment? Councilman Streetman, you have final word?
I just ask that you vote in favor of this, and we can move on to the next.
All right. Okay, we're now voting on the Streetman Amendment number 3. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
9 yes, 4 no, 0 abstain.
Amendment 3 is adopted. Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Also, we have got, one for, you're right, I've got to pass it. Sorry. This is in regard to CPD and CFR, and I did talk to the department heads on this. I didn't just bring this forward without it. I talked to them to see if there was anything that we could look at to be able to try and work towards decreasing what we've got before us. And I was very appreciative of the department heads that wanted to work with me on it. I mean, they understand that there is a need for our city. They also understand that we have taxpayers out there that are wanting us to look at anything and everything, and keeping in mind that not just these, but others that come before us, not this last one we just voted on, but the one before us and others, that if we don't do them now, we're still going to have to do them in the future. But for police, in some cases, for police, it's 137,750. Part of that, that one was an easy one to take out. They had presented their budget prior to renegotiating with Verizon to lower their costs. So that was a quick one he was able to give me to be able to reduce it. There's also some other that has to do with equipment that it's not, they don't already have it on every vehicle, and you know they do like having it. They would rather have it, but it would be okay if we could wait on that a year and get that. Again, keeping in mind what we're trying to do as the overall budget. He said we could tighten down on some office supplies, reduce our training by 20,000, and that's because the likelihood of being able to fill every one of the open positions and get them all through the police academy may actually be a little difficult to do. So he said that that's one that we could take out, and then another 14,000 that had to do with some other equipment that he said that we could wait until next year if we had to be able to get that. So that gave us a total of 137,750 from the police department, and then from the fire department. I mean, pretty bare bones in what they had there. So I couldn't really get, he couldn't really give me a lot of different things there. He's cut back on a whole lot of different things. So there were a few different areas that we were able to reduce that included public relations. Sorry, let me get my budget book open where I have it right here in front of me. Public relations, some was some equipment that they have for equipment and furniture that they would have at the fire stations. Like I already said, PR, and then there's one other, and it just kind of falls under the other, and reducing that kind of closer to where they have been, spent in the past. So again, I talked with both of them to be able to get to this, and of course, it gives you a total of, I like you. Do what?
I'm sorry,
$153,540. I make a motion for approval.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of amendment number 4. Okay.
I'm not going in any particular order. Sorry,
Councilman
Mayor.
Chandler, on this amendment.
You cut my mic off, Mayor.
All right, any more question or comment regarding this amendment? If I may, without objection, I'd love to hear from the chief of police and fire rescue chiefs. Not that I don't value what our chairman has said, but I'd still like to hear from Chief Burdine and Chief Montgomery regarding these accounts. I'm not as familiar with the account numbers as some people may be. Y'all want to draw straws, see who goes first? Chief?
Mayor, while they're coming up, can I add one thing?
Sure.
I 100% understand that we do not get line item authority. This was just where I worked with them. I know we're waiting on them to come up, but I didn't want anyone to think I misunderstood. I know we don't have line item.
And I understand, I appreciate it. I just want a little more clarity. Don't rush to the microphone all at once. Chief Montgomery, you're next. Can you identify for me those operating accounts and what impact that has?
The numbers, the 4610 was, I don't have those, Mayor, with me right in front of me. I could get those, give me 10 minutes so I can get the exact numbers for training.
Does finance have what those account numbers are?
So 4610 is operating supplies?
Operating supplies, okay.
That was we looked at our office supplies. We tried to reduce that to what we could. So that was calendars, things that people need for office supplies. So that was a small percentage of that operation, or the
Okay.
4610.
Okay. And the other account numbers from finance?
4321.
Training?
Yes. Last year, we really cut back on training, and this year we put more training back in. And, we have to train on so many different facets within our department, and there's some specialized training our training division cannot do every single one. So we budget for training. And part of that training also comes into police academy costs. And we're very hopeful, optimistic that we will be able to get fully staffed, but there's also being realistic to what we can do to help our city move forward, is that we reduce the training budget as well.
Okay.
There was a
4530 communications chief?
4530 communications. Verizon, I just found out about that today. Chief Lane had advised me, as we were looking at things that we could do, of a renegotiation with Verizon we use Verizon for so many things, our MDTs, our phones, and everything else, and there was savings that they were able to have made for this amount of money.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Chief Montgomery? I'll come to you. I'll let you speak.
All right.
Chief
So-
Montgomery,
yes,
okay,
sir.
we have 4 operating accounts that are impacted by a lesser amount, but still 4630. Public relations.
Yes, that's public relations. We talked about that one. That is, we have been trying to get it's a couple things, our Citizens Academy and supporting some events that we do.
Okay,
So that was reduced by probably half.
okay. 4650. Other equipment.
Other equipment, that was actually, I think, a couple of grills
Okay.
for the stations.
4800. Okay,
Yeah, that one. We
Okay.
just talked about reducing that one compared to previous year's number.
okay. Thank you, Chief.
All right.
We do have questions. Councilman Smith, you had a question?
Yes, Mayor, I just have a question for Chief.
Which one?
Police, both of them chiefs. That's
All right.
Police.
Chief Burdine?
Get in the hot seat, Chief, right now. I'm joking. I'm just joking.
You're recognized for your question.
Thank you, Mayor. Will the type of training that you're going to delete out of this budget, will it affect the well-being of our officers on their duties, dealing with different types of situations?
No, we prioritize training, okay? So we prioritize what training officers get to go to. And yes, always the more training, the better. But I would say that, to answer your question, is that if it's that important, that we will make sure that they get the training that is the most important. And if we can do something to help or to cut that for the city's purposes, we will. But to answer your question is no.
So suppose someone may need it and we don't have it. So what do you do there? Where's your backup on this?
We always find a way.
Find a way?
Yes, we always find a way. I wouldn't say if there's training that is training that's required by the state of Tennessee that we have to take, those are done by our own officers. The shooting, the driving, the child sex, there's all those we are mandated to do, our training division does. So those are priorities, and those are funded by our own officers.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Do you have a question for the fire chief?
No, sir,
Okay.
thank you.
Councilman Shekinah, you're recognized on the amendment.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. On the amendment, I'm not in favor of this amendment. I'm not in favor of making any cuts to fire and rescue or CPD. If anything, we can find money to fund other programs within the city. We definitely should be finding money to fully fund CPD and CFR. Thank you.
Councilman Chandler, you're recognized.
No, I said I was gonna shut up, but I didn't tell the truth. Chief, yeah.
Chief Burdine?
Burdine.
Chief Burdine, if you don't mind.
When you said training and then the academy was thrown in there. I'm kind of foggy on that, we're looking, how many slots do you have open?
It changes sometimes by the week, sir, but if I'm not mistaken, we're around 36 vacancies. But we project that you always have to project of, retirements, resignations, terminations, and then onboarding. So we never have an exact number that we have. We project of how many we look forward to see mandatory retirements, to see who has to go. And then we just look at vacancies to see how many we would have to be fully staffed. And we try to make the best guess that we can.
Okay, my question is, let's say that 18 of those 36 is right now. This doesn't affect sending in, this reduction doesn't affect sending
It's
them
a
to the
minor
academy,
reduction.
does it?
Mm-mm. No.
Okay.
No, it'd be a minor reduction to anything with academy cost.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else, Councilman Chandler?
No, sir.
Okay. Any other questions or comments regarding this amendment? We're now voting on the amendment, 3A. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
1 yes, 12 no, 0 abstain.
3A fails. Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, got another one here for you all. I was just trying to make the math easy for everybody so you don't have to sit here and add it up. Let's see, will you pass that around for me? Actually, I think that one goes that way too. May not have gotten all the totals putting on there. This one is in regard to, I'll let it get around, information technology. You'll see I've crossed out one part of it. I originally was going to take out a position, however, change that because I know that it just got through for building and code, so I didn't want to take away from IT if we weren't taking away also from building and codes. And I know it's been important for building and codes.
Hang on, just a
Sorry.
second. We're short on copies. Everybody got a copy? We need
Okay,
one,
wait.
2.
I've got more.
I think
That
just
should
2? 2? Okay, we're good. All right, Councilman Streetman, you have the floor.
Okay, so, Like I said, took out the top one, so I've amended it before it's even come to you. This is 28,800 to remove 2 interns, knowing that if they were able to get the 2 positions, then they could remove 2 of the interns. This is reducing training and professional development by 12,100 and remove the network assessment of $38,400. Which typically that's done every 5 years. It is the 5-year for it. We have gotten a new network, and I mean, this keeps it from being tested and doing everything that needs to be done to make sure everything is working right. However, trying to look at where we can try and save some money. Talking through, that was one of the things where looked at trying to put on there. And then, of course, the 528 is also that fleet tracking that was mentioned in the earlier one that we voted on. This totals up to $79,828. I make a motion for approval.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of this amendment. Any questions or comments? Councilman Zacharias, you're recognized on the amendment.
Thank you, Mayor. If you don't mind, I would like to ask the Director of IT about the network assessment and just like what all, I'm a cybersecurity teacher, I'm curious.
Without objection, Ms. Wilson. If you would, ask your question.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Wilson, so I understand we've got a bunch of new networking equipment. This network assessment, are we talking about functionality, or are we talking about like penetration testing and hardening the network?
We are talking about the functioning of the new network and how it is laid out. We still have our external and internal pen testing in there. We still have our vulnerability assessment in there. This is just addressing the layout and
Okay.
how we could improve it.
Perfect, that's what I need to know. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Councilman Zacharias, said it, okay. Councilman Claunch, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am not in support of this. As we know, as technology advances and we have multiple smart devices and all of the things, I am not in support of removing $80,000 where somebody can sit in another country and shut us down. So I have.
Any more comment or question regarding this amendment? Councilman Streetman, you have last word.
Nothing to add. I gave my speech beforehand. But it's up to the council what their will is.
Okay, all right, we're now voting on the Streetman Amendment 3B. Every member, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
3 yes, 10 no, 0 abstain.
Amendment fails. Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Okay, next up is to reduce the legislative and the admin budgets. I'll let it get passed around and then I can get started. Everybody got it? Nope, sorry.
All right, you're recognized.
Okay, this is to reduce the legislative admin budget by a total of $17,350. That's $1,500 for employee training, which is in regard to sending a city council member to Leadership Clarksville. It is $9,850. This has to do with general supplies, which would be new iPads for all of us and swag for us to be able to give away. It is $1,000 for public relations regarding functions and events, and $5,000 to pay for a swearing-in ceremony come January. This totals up to $17,350, and I make a motion for approval.
Motion been made and properly seconded in favor of this amendment. Any comment or question regarding this amendment? Councilman Chandler, you're recognized on the amendment.
I just wondering, what's included in a $5,000 swearing-in ceremony?
That was the money that was listed as budgeted for it.
That would be food and invitations and other things of that nature.
Okay, thank you.
Instead, it would just be held, it could be held here in the council chambers. Somebody could choose to sponsor it, however that worked out, but we wouldn't be spending $5,000 for it.
All right, thank you.
Any more comment or question regarding this amendment? Councilman Streetman, last word?
No, sir, no last word.
All right. We're voting on Amendment 3C. Every member, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
11 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Amendment is adopted.
I'm sorry,
Councilman
11 yes,
Streetman?
2 no, 0.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Madam Clerk. Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Okay, all right, so got another one going around. All right, this one's, and I'll wait for it to get around, sorry. Oh, they stuck together, I sure do.
Yeah, here, just pass that around. There come, oh, we got one. You need one, Councilman Peters?
Well, we just started passing, so now somebody over here short.
Has everybody got an amendment? All right, we're gold. All right, Councilman Streetman.
Okay, so this one is a little bit more than the last one that I brought forward to you guys. This one removes $161,536 from the building and facilities maintenance. Again, knowing we do not have line item approval, however, this ties specifically to the bucket truck that was requested in there. Knowing that even the question was asked during our committee, our budget committee meetings, can you use bucket trucks from one of the other departments? And yes, they could, but sometimes they had to wait on it. But they don't use, it's not a huge amount that they're using all year long. So that would be a cost savings to us at the $161,536. And I did talk to Mr. Palmore in regard to that. $110,000, this removes the finance. This is a business license software. This was a new software that finance was intending to get this year. This would be something that could be pushed until next year. The Customs House Museum, $53,296. That just takes it back to the amount they were at last year. And then $200,000 to remove a single axle dump truck from the street department. Altogether, that one totals up to $524,832.
I hear the motion for
A
approval.
motion for approval.
Properly seconded. Any comment or question regarding this amendment? Okay, Councilman Streetman, final word?
No, sir.
Okay, we're voting on the Streetman Amendment 3D. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
8 yes, 5 no, 0 abstain.
Amendment 3D is adopted. Councilman Streetman.
Okay, Mayor, I do have one more, but I do believe, I'm kind of looking to Ms. Wilcox here. Do I need to wait on this one until we have completed everything, until all amendments have been brought forward? Okay, because this one was in regards to where we reduced the fund, the unrestricted fund balance requirement, and want to make sure everything still tallies up.
All right. Councilman Shekinah, any amendments?
No amendments at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Lovato, any amendments?
No amendments at this time.
Okay. Any further discussion regarding ordinance 90? Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Could we take just a moment, if it's okay, so I can check with her to make sure we're still good?
Sure.
Excuse me.
Stand in recess for a couple of minutes without objection. Councilman Streetman, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I move over to the other one, in talking with Ms. Wilcox, we still haven't even gotten to a penny of a reduction here. So I make a motion to reconsider Councilperson Brown's amendment that he brought forward.
Motion been made and properly seconded to reconsider our action on Councilman Brown's amendment. Any discussion about the motion to reconsider our action? This is not voting on the amendment. This is merely voting to reconsider our action on the Brown amendment. I don't know what number it was. Councilman Brown, forgive me.
He only
It
had
was
one.
your amendment too. Okay, thank you. All right. Any comment or question regarding this motion to reconsider our action? Get it teed up, and we're voting to reconsider our action on Amendment 2. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
8 yes, 5 no, 0 abstain.
Motion to reconsider passes. Councilman Streetman.
I'm in 100% support of our building and codes, and without a doubt, we need these positions. However, again, we haven't moved a penny. We got 500 and some odd thousand, but we haven't even gotten a penny. So out of everything that we're sitting here trying to do, we need to move things a little bit further. So I am in favor. Again, my apologies, but I'm going to be in favor of removing the 2 building and codes positions, understanding that I know I am one that often calls building and codes, and we can't increase our services to our community to be able to deal with issues, and the numbers of calls are only continuing to go up and up. However, we've got to do something here to try and get something done for this. So do I have to make a motion for approval again, or since we're reconsidering, we already have the motion?
All right, motion, it is on the floor, the motion to consider Councilman Brown. I'm going to come to the sponsor of the amendment for an explanation one more time.
Thank you, Mayor. Just going back over this, is they've requested 3 positions. Yes, I do understand the need for additional personnel. That's why I would still like to give them 1 new position with the equipment that comes with that, but to remove the additional 2 positions on that. The other part of it was, the 60,000 for a replacement vehicle for the new mayor. And knowing, this is for whoever becomes the next mayor. It is not for our current mayor.
Thank you for clarifying
This is going to be for the incoming new mayor. I don't, want somebody to get the opinion that we're giving, our current mayor that is going out of office, retiring, a new vehicle for a few months to use. This would be for the incoming mayor. So that is all I have.
Okay. The amendment is before us. Any more comment or question regarding this amendment? We're now voting on Amendment 2 as reconsidered. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
7 yes, 6 no, 0 abstain.
Amendment 2 is adopted. Councilman Streetman.
Mayor, I'd like to ask, as on the prevailing side, I'd like to ask to reconsider the motion to reduce no, that one failed. I apologize, I can't remember, did the IT one pass or no?
It failed.
It failed, never mind, I didn't have a good note on there, I apologize.
Okay, any more? Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Yes, sir, I still have the main one, to go.
You're recognized on a point of order.
Since we were reconsidering Councilman Brown, would that not have taken a 75% instead of a simple majority?
Ooh, that's a good question for our parliamentarian. Mr. City Attorney. Good question.
Now, I believe that's a simple majority under Robert's rules for motion to reconsider. It's just a plain motion to reconsider. It's not anything tied to like a zoning issue or something under the code that would require that additional higher majority.
Just checking.
All right. Good catch. All right.
Did it fail? Because it was 7-6.
No, it passed.
Okay, I thought he said, well, how many it takes 75?
Simple majority.
Oh, just simple, you sure?
Yes, sir. We just heard it. Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I have one more amendment to bring forward. I do need you to, because we now have gotten to 1 penny, that I am passing around. You'll see that it says property tax rate of 117. Please just correct that to 116. This is where we voted in favor of reducing the unrestricted general fund balance from 20% to 17%. This is to reduce the tax rate by 6 pennies, which would get the property tax rate to 116, not 117 is what's on there. But I would like Ms. Wilcox, if you would be okay with that, to come up and talk about that 6 pennies, please. Sir.
Without objection, Ms. Wilcox, if you would ask the question.
Ms. Wilcox, would you talk about this 6 pennies, please? The conversation kind of we were having over there, I thought was much better explained by you.
Seeing as the budget is continually changing and there are a few ordinances out there that could affect it in the near future, this 6 pennies is conservative to make sure that we do not go below the 17%. So that is why if you calculate it, you might come up with more than 6 pennies. But I need to ensure that with all these changes going on, we do not drop below that 17%. So it's a conservative.
Should we make it to the second reading and any other potential amendments that may come about during the second reading? Will this fluctuate to get us, or will I need to amend it again for us to get to the proper tax rates?
I don't believe that in second reading we can do that. I'm concerned about the ordinance for the parking commission that is still out there to be voted on second reading. If that has to be brought back, if that passes and it's been postponed, but if that is brought back into the general fund, that will require 2 pennies. So I want to make sure that there's room in that 17% to make sure we don't drop below.
I'm only asking if we have other amendments that are changing, is it going to change anything on this other than each of those amendments can further reduce the tax rate, potentially?
Those other amendments can further reduce the property tax rate. Is that what you are asking me? You are correct that they can still,
Yes,
even
that
with
much
that.
I won't have to do any kind of amendment. We'd be fine with just this one.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Obvious-
Councilman Streetman.
Obviously, I would ask everybody to vote in favor of this. This at least will get us to 116 from the proposed 123 that was before us.
Councilman Chandler on this amendment.
Okay, I just need clarification on what increase does this budget ask for? I'm not talking about just as it was printed, originally printed, 31 cents, is that right?
31 cents to $1.23 property tax rate.
Okay. All right, thank you, that's good enough.
Okay. Any more comment or question regarding this amendment? Seeing none, Councilman Brown, you're recognized on this amendment.
Sorry, I was trying to hit the button. So this is just amending from where we were asking for 123 to put into the budget the 116. So this is not actually voting on the entire budget as it is, correct?
You're setting the tax rate in regards to the amendments you've adopted, which is a penny, and then the change in the fund balance policy, which would conservatively reduce it by 6 pennies. So that's how we got to 116. Hang on. Councilman Brown, okay, did that help?
So,
or just muddy the water?
So we're not voting saying that we're gonna approve the budget at 116. This is just making the amendment in there saying it's
Yes.
asking for 116.
Yes.
Because, that's still a 23-cent increase is what this will be changing it to from 31.
Okay. Councilman Streetman, you're recognized on your amendment.
Make a motion for approval?
All right, properly seconded now. Any further comment regarding this amendment? All right, seeing none, hearing none, are you ready to vote? All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
10 yes, 3 no, 0 abstain.
The amendment 3E is adopted. Councilman Streetman.
Thank you, Mayor. I am out of amendments to be able to bring here, because I can't bring something back up on the first reading, but I can bring it back up again on the second reading that we have, if we can make it to a second reading. But what I would ask is, we've sat here and we've barely moved the mark. We've gone from 31 cents to reducing that by 7 cents. So we're still at 24 cents. It was asked for conversations. It was asked for communication to work through this. I'm asking everyone, if you've got more you want to bring forward. We have blank pieces of paper that are here right now. Ms. Wilcox is here right now. We have department heads here right now. So Mayor, I'm going to ask that we take a 20-minute recess and allow everybody to please try and do this. Don't just vote this down. We've got jobs to do to get something through. And keeping in mind, bring something forward, look at it now, and then again, if we can get to a second reading, if you need more time than 20 minutes to try and look at something and bring something forward, then I would ask you to vote and get us through to a second reading, and then continue doing some work to try and see what we can do to get this budget to where it needs to be. Because I know it was stated you haven't gotten any phone calls. I have. I've gotten phone calls from people in favor of a 31-cent tax increase. I've gotten people in favor of a 0 tax increase. I've had people in favor of maybe just a few cents to maybe 12 to 15, maybe 17. It has been across the gambit from my ward of what people are wanting. I had somebody say to me today, I appreciate that you all salt my roads when we had the big snow and ice storm. I appreciate that you all pick up the brush on twice a year from in front of my house. I appreciate that we have streets to drive on a regular basis. I appreciate that when I needed to call the fire department, a fire truck was there in 3 minutes. So I'm getting mixed information from across. So if we could try and again, work together, use this as our opportunity to try and discuss more amendments if you'd like, so that we can try and get through a first reading tonight. So again, Mayor, I go back to, can we have a 20-minute recess?
The motion before us is to recess for 20 minutes, which would be, 6:36? Properly seconded, thank you. Councilman Chandler, on the motion to recess?
You know, our finance people are the one that come in here and said 31 cents. That is high, I will admit. We've already cut it down quite a bit. I voted to do it. I didn't like the idea of the reserve fund balance. I look at that as like a parachute. A parachute, say, has at one time 22 strings on it. Well, we cut that down to 20. Now we've cut it down to 17. We need to be careful, because eventually that parachute's not going to do what it was intended to do.
We're talking about recess.
I know.
Okay.
But
Just
I'm
wanna
going
make
to get
sure.
into the recess part
Okay,
here
all right.
real quick.
All right, thank you.
Maybe. But the thing about it is, I don't think in 20 minutes that we're going to be able to come in here and just continually cut and cut. Like I said, at the very beginning of this process, our professional finance people told us 31. We've cut that. And I'm not saying there's not room for it to be cut more, but to put our department heads and everybody on the spot in a 20-minute time frame and come back in here is, to me, is just too much of a rush just for the simple fact of cutting a penny or two. Give us time for, we got another round scheduled, and that would give us more time to look at all completely again, get with the department heads, because I'm sure that there's not any of them sitting out here that wouldn't answer our phone calls or emails, but, I'd be against going for a 20-minute recess.
Councilman Shekinah, on the motion for a recess.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Regarding the motion, and I concur. I don't believe we need to take a 20-minute recess to try to scramble at the last minute. We have another session that's scheduled. We can do our due diligence. We can bring stuff in if we want to.
Councilman Streetman, on your motion to recess for 20 minutes.
Yes, I just want to remind everybody, if this doesn't pass first reading, there's not a second reading. We start all over again. So that's the only reason I was trying to come up with something for us to work. You think 20 minutes isn't enough? Go a little bit longer. All I'm trying to do is get us to a point where we can actually make it to a second reading.
All right, any more comment, Councilman Smith, on the motion to recess?
I'm against doing this because I think we've already looked over this budget. We've cut what we were going to cut today. I think, holding people over and longer, their brain just stopped working properly, some people. They tell us when we preach, don't preach that long because you lose the people after 20 minutes. So we've been here long enough. I think we need to allow us to go home, look over what we have done thus far. Come back. Ain't no need of rushing it. What are we rushing for? We got time. We have another session. We just have to do it over if we need to. But we want to get it right. We don't want to rush this. Just making decisions to make up let's get another penny. We need another penny. Another penny. We might can cut it 5 more cents. So let's don't rush. Let's just give us some time to think about this. Thank you.
Councilman Peters, you're recognized.
Motion's on the floor. I haven't heard a second.
I second it.
Okay, then let's vote. Call for the question.
All right, any objection to ceasing discussion on the motion to recess? There is none, so we will be voting on the motion to recess for 20 minutes. All members, please cast your vote. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
2 yes, 11 no, 0 abstain.
Motion to recess fails. We're back on ordinance 90 as amended. Any comment or question regarding ordinance 90 as amended? Councilman Brown, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to make a mention that, we're taking this budget that was given to us by the mayor's office. This is not the city council's budget. This is a mayor's budget. And this is something that may be able to look at in the future is setting aside a budget committee. It may take some charter changes or something to where, like some other agencies do, they have a budget committee that goes through this, sits down for quite a bit of time and goes through this. So, we're getting this budget from the mayor's office and we're trying to look at what we can cut, where we can save money, because we're the ones that the people are calling, asking us to do that. So, just may think about that in the future of what we need to adjust in our code or whatever to have this process a little bit sooner, and where we have more time and there's, a smaller group that may present it to the full council, and go through that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Streetman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the comments. I can't necessarily say a budget committee is a bad idea. However, one thing I will say is that I've heard over the past few years from the council up here, we've been given a budget and to try and be able to find anything in there. I mean, there was very, very, very little that could be worked with. This time we were given a budget with a lot in there where it gave the council the opportunity to really sit here, work together and see, is there anything else anything that we feel that could be taken out? It is presented to us by the mayor, but we have the opportunity to decide what services do we want to take away? How do we want to limit the budget in order to be able to get it passed? So we've had an opportunity, and like I said, this has been said multiple times, and the mayor gave us that to be able to do that with the budget that we have before us and room to try and work within here. So to me, I ask that we at least get this to a second reading. If you really think you're going to work, bring something forward and look at more, then let's get it to a second reading, knowing that we need to get something in place by the end of the month, because we've already heard at the beginning of the meeting what happens if we don't have a budget by the end of the month. So I ask that if we can get to a second reading, and then please continue to do the work, talk to the department heads, reach out to them, look through and see what you can do to be able to get it to where you're comfortable, because we've got to have a budget to be able to move forward.
Any more comment or question regarding ordinance 90? All right, hearing none, seeing none, we're now voting on ordinance 90 as amended. Every member voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
2 yes, 11 no, 0 abstain.
Ordinance 90 fails. We're now ready for public comment. We allow 3 people 5 minutes each. Any member of the public wish to address the council? Please come forward, give us your name, and you have 5 minutes.
Kyle Shannon, good evening. Excuse me. I stand here before you all this evening as an individual, as a citizen of this city, not as council or any other party. What's on my mind as a citizen, and has been for some time, irregularities. A couple weeks ago, there was a meeting, a public meeting held at City Hall. I believe it started at 4 o'clock. I attempted at 4:25 to gain entry into this publicly held meeting, and I was denied entry. I was told, not by CPD, but by city security, that there was a directive, not told by who, that they were to deny any person who tried to gain entry into said meeting past an arbitrary time that they were to be denied. That was concerning. And Councilwoman Smith, I sat here tonight, and I can't speak for the audience, and I won't try to, but I know for a fact there are 2 attorneys in this room, and I don't know if the words that were said this evening were lost on those in the room that are not classically legally trained. Irregularities. I push and prod you, Councilwoman Smith, that if you feel as a public representative that there was irregularities going on with whatever resolution or lack thereof, I empower and ask as a citizen that you run those irregularities down, because that is very concerning. Thank you all.
Next person, 5 minutes. If you'll give us your name, and you have 5 minutes.
Hello, everyone. I'm
Please pull
Lois
the mic
Ryder.
down so we can, there you go.
Okay. Anyway, I want to clarify a few things. It's been brought to my attention that some of you wonder why the center has not been doing more. It's because of our board. Anything our lawyers put forward against the mayor to challenge him, to file an injunction, they vote against it. Why was the police over this week? Well, maybe because the board chair oversees her authority to start firing the staff. No. And then she tried to have them removed by the police. Our biggest problem is this board. And I have a recording that is going to be released here shortly where the board chair literally admits the city wanted our director fired. And that's in her own words. And that will be released shortly. What I will tell you is this. I have mentioned to you before about the former ADC director and how when she was relieved from the center, she went directly over to Jennifer Letourneau and was given a job immediately. Now she has been named the incoming director. Now, the only reason ADC was shut down was because of our director being fired. We had our license, we had everything that was needed, we can prove all this. But I will tell you this, all of this isn't been about anything we've done. Sure, we get issues, but when your board causes most of them, it's a problem. And I've said before in here, we need a board to work with us, not against us. And that's clearly happening. But I'm going to give you a little hint because I'm going to keep this short. Yes, the fight is on. But there's one person and one person only that this is about. And I suggest you take a look at what just got aired on Channel 5. It's going to get real interesting. I asked you before if you wanted this to be your legacy. You've written it in stone.
Next person, we allow one more person, 5 minutes each. If you give us your name, you have 5 minutes.
Hello, my name is Carrie Johnson Gary. I take my mom to the center twice a week for the past 13 years. 13. I've seen problems, all these things. But I've also seen not the recent previous director, but the director before that, who is now about to possibly take over because of the board of directors. Her sending all of the older people downstairs so they can carry their sewing machines by hand, because at the time the elevator didn't work, to the coldest room, and it's smaller, so she could raise profits up top by having more adult care, but not the seniors, which is what the building's for. It says it. But there's so much more. There is an insane amount of ambiguities going on. And I think that you should look a little bit closer within before you just start blaming the center. Because right now, the board of directors consists of 4 people going to the same church who all go to the same church as not the previous director, Rita, but the one that might take over by the board of directors, who was placed there. But I think that kind of sensibility. Those 4 people had no idea the bylaws, none. The chairwoman kept filing to motion. They're not supposed to in the bylaws during the board meeting. That's supposed to be from the others. She can't not just say, this is what we need to do. This is what's going on. Because apparently that's what's been going on at these board meetings, is that the chairwoman, who does not have the best interest of the senior citizens, telling the people that do that she doesn't care, that she doesn't have time to listen. Today, they didn't even let anybody speak publicly. Even at the end, they said we were supposed to. It's against the bylaws. You have a director constantly, the chairman of the board, constantly breaking the bylaws. In fact, from my notes, I could be incorrect. She wasn't actually voted in. She was told she was going to be in by Mr. Pitt's office. She was told. And then when she came back the following year, she wasn't voted back in. So it's actually kind of against code for her to even be there. But she's making all the decisions for this home of these people, 1,500 families. And I can't believe that only one person is losing their job from the adult daycare center from 1,500, I take my mom there twice a week just so I can have a job. I quit my business position and full-time work so I can become a server to take care of my mom. And you're telling me that this 1,500 people isn't going to have a ripple effect. It's going to affect more than 1,500 in this city for sure. Way more. Because there's 7 in mine. 8, including my mom. I would imagine it's exponential. This is 1,483 senior citizens that get help with health benefits, talking on the phone to help with new technology. Yes, they get to have fun too, but you also have APSU volunteering to get their hours in. APSU Health, the nurses come and check all the senior citizens to make sure they're doing okay. They get clinical hours from it, everybody wins. But you guys are gonna take that away too. Y'all need to look really hard at what's been going on there, not just a shakeup or they've been doing it wrong. This is a board just crushing something that is beautiful. And that, yes, absolutely mistakes. I say it all the time. But that doesn't mean they weren't fixable or easy. The board of directors is the start. Thank you.
The purpose for which this special session of the Clarksville City Council having been accomplished, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Without objection, we're adjourned.